Welcome to the Cannabis Workforce Initiative Compliance Seed to Sale course. My name is David Serrano. I'm the CWI Project Manager and your guide to industry jobs and best practices. This course is intended to be a high-level overview of the compliance, seed to sale, and the various practices deployed to maintain compliance. It's important to note that this course is not a substitute for on-the-job training or an academic approach to certification and/or credentialing. Although there are a number of entry-level jobs in the cannabis industry that require no degrees or certifications, we encourage viewers to consider a certificate or degree path from one of our network educators. Having a degree or certificate can oftentimes make your resume more competitive and give you confidence in your future role. You can find a growing list of partners at cannabisworkforce.org. This presentation, Compliance Seed to Sale, is brought to you by the Cannabis Workforce Initiative, CWI. The New York State Cannabis Workforce Initiative is a collaboration between New York State School of Industrial and Labor Relations at Cornell University and New York Workforce Development Institute. Our mission is to promote and support social equity in the adult use cannabis market by providing quality workforce development and legal education. Our work, supported by a state budget appropriation, prioritizes diversity, equity, and quality jobs in the emerging cannabis industry. We do this through skills training, entrepreneurism services, workforce support, legal education for employees and employers, and the development of high-road career pathways. Together, we're laying the groundwork to create tens of thousands of new jobs in the emerging industry. We want to help individuals explore multiple career pathways from seed to sale. Whether it's cultivation, testing, operations, or entrepreneurism, there are multiple pathways into this industry. That's why education and training will be key to ensuring your success. Today, to help us learn more about compliance, we have asked Ann Forkutza to join us to discuss compliance, seed to sale in the cannabis industry. Ann is the head of strategic growth for Dutchie, a cannabis industry technology company.
Hi there, welcome to the Cannabis Workforce Initiative Compliance Seed to Sale course. My name is Ann and I'm here to guide you through an overview of what it means to be compliant in the cannabis industry, and more specifically, how seed to sale tracking and traceability play a role in keeping the cannabis industry compliant. And then we'll wrap up with all the different job opportunities in the cannabis industry when it comes to compliance, as well as tips on how to get started if you are interested in a career in cannabis compliance. On that note, let's begin. Now, you might be wondering, what exactly is compliance and what does it mean when it comes to being compliant in the cannabis industry? Now, the definition of compliance simply means adhering and meeting rules or standards. So when it comes to the definition of compliance in the cannabis industry and the reason why processes around staying compliant in the cannabis industry can differ from state to state, it all really starts with the Cole Memo. The Cole Memo was originally drafted in 2013 by former U.S. Attorney General James M. Cole, which represented a significant shift in the federal government to deprioritize the use of funds for cannabis enforcement at a federal level. What this meant was that each state would now be responsible for determining how to comply with state legal cannabis operations when it came to items such as keeping cannabis away from minors, preventing the distribution of cannabis across state lines, and ensuring that any cannabis grown, distributed, and sold would be done legally and compliantly. It also meant that each state would also be responsible for determining the licensing process and what criteria would have to be met in order for someone to get a license to grow, distribute, and sell cannabis. Additionally, in order for each state to efficiently track whether or not the cannabis inventory and sales happening in their state was being done in a compliant manner, they would need some sort of method to track and trace every cannabis plant and product being produced, sold, transferred, or destroyed. And that was how the concept of seed to sale and state traceability came to be. When it comes to compliance in the cannabis industry, the focus is on three main goals: ensuring public health and safety, reducing the illicit market, and making sure that proper taxes are being calculated and collected by the state. Let's look at each goal in more detail. When it comes to public health and safety, standards and guidelines are put in place on items such as cannabis product packaging and labeling, lab testing for potency, and operating procedures in the event of a recall. Dispensaries also need to have standard operating procedures to prevent minors from accessing cannabis, such as training their staff to check for valid ID, as well as having a compliant point of sale system that can also check if a customer's ID is valid. In terms of reducing the illicit market, this is where traceability and seed-to-sale software systems come into play. Many states use a traceability software system to keep track of all the cannabis that is being grown, distributed, and sold in the state. The most common traceability systems, also called track and trace systems, are Metrc, BioTrack, and Leaf Data. Cultivators, processors, manufacturers who grow and produce cannabis products would then need a seed-to-sale software system to compliantly track and report all the plants and cannabis products to the state. Dispensaries who sell cannabis products would also need a cannabis-specific point-of-sale software system to help keep them compliant when it comes to items such as purchasing limits, equivalencies, taxes, inventory adjustments when it comes to destruction and waste, inventory transfers, and of course, cannabis sales. All cannabis inventory adjustments, transfers, sales, and even refunds need to be reported to the state. Otherwise, dispensaries risk getting fines and penalties, or even worse, they could lose their license altogether. Now, keep in mind that compliance is not just applicable for what happens inside a dispensary, it also needs to apply for what happens online. That is why it is so important to use a compliant system that is specifically designed for the cannabis industry. Dispensaries need to ensure that their online system is integrated with their point-of-sale system for accurate, compliant reporting, or they can choose to use an all-in-one dispensary software system where their online and in-store systems are already fully integrated and working together. Finally, when it comes to making sure that proper taxes are being calculated and collected by the state, this is also where seed-to-sale software systems are essential. Taxes are already complicated, but they are especially complicated in the cannabis industry with varying rules and tax types. As you can see, compliance touches many areas of the cannabis industry, which also means many compliance-specific jobs in the cannabis industry. Compliance is not only necessary for the cannabis industry when it comes to ensuring public health and safety, reducing the illicit market, and making sure that proper taxes are being calculated and collected by the state. It's also great when it comes to creating new job opportunities in the industry. This includes everything from having a career in quality assurance, lab testing, and regulatory inspections, to even working in the tech industry as a compliance officer or a developer building compliant seed-to-sale software. To stay up to date on all things cannabis compliance when it comes to New York, be sure to check out the New York State Office of Cannabis Management website at cannabis.ny.gov. That's it for now. Thanks for joining us to learn all about compliance seed-to-sale.
Thank you, Anne. Excellent job. In addition to seed-to-sale compliance tracking and reporting, it's important to note that there are other compliance mandates to be aware of and follow. For instance, there are rules that govern the use of chemicals, creating accessibility for disabled workers, good manufacturing and agricultural practices, accounting, and other practices. Lastly, it's important to recognize that the moment you enter a cannabis facility, most actions are recorded and archived for future inspections. Most employers will train on these mandates to ensure complete compliance with all of the requirements. That's it for now. On behalf of the team at CWI, we wish you the best in your cannabis industry journey. Up next, health and safety.